Hey, welcome back, everybody. RT Machine Podcast here. We're on episode 16, and we have a very special guest today, Stephanie Phillips
Taggart.
She's with
SPT.
SPT. She's with the Keystone Wood Products Association. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me.
Brian, you didn't do it. You're supposed to tell everybody who's in the room.
Oh, yeah,
first.
who's in the room?
You get a little ahead of
Who
you.
else is in the room?
Chutes and ladders.
Can we have one of those takes? Do you have one of
Oh,
those?
no, you don't.
No. There's nothing fancy here. So I'm Ron. I'm in the room.
Got Dean here.
Eric's here again.
And obviously your host, Brian Kraling,
Yeah.
Esteemed host.
esteemed new carnivore guy.
So what is your specific title at KWPA?
Well, that's a funny question. About 5 years ago, I started as a part-time marketing coordinator and somehow ended up moving my way up, and I'm currently executive director.
Okay.
Nice.
Very good.
And what is KWPA?
KWPA it stands for Keystone Wood Products Association, and we are a nonprofit organization. It's a hardwood utilization group. There are 3 located throughout Pennsylvania, and I cover 11 counties in central PA.
Oh, so there's 3 different groups in the state.
There are.
I didn't know that.
And we work together to promote the wood products industry throughout the state, but again, I have a focus of central Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And our mission is education, workforce development, and promotion. And that entails a lot of different aspects.
Yeah. And the majority of your members are woodworkers. We're an associate member, I guess, or something, because we're in the machinery business, right?
You're a service member.
Service
yes.
member. Okay.
So you provide services to our members, and we actually have a variety of members. We have about 50 members. They come from all backgrounds. So we've got loggers, sawmills, primary processors, and secondary manufacturers,
Nice.
and even retailers as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we do have woodworkers as well, small independent individuals.
How many members?
About 50.
Okay. In your region.
Correct.
Yeah. And with the other 3, do you know how many in all of Pennsylvania?
I do not know.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Ron.
I was just curious.
I see you guys are doing scholarship programs. Tell us a little bit about what.
So KWPA is guided by a volunteer board, and they're very passionate about education. And unfortunately, one of the connections to the wood products industry passed away. And as a result of that, they formed a memorial scholarship called the Richard Lockley Scholarship. So annually, we provide scholarship funds to a forestry student who basically his goal in life is to be a forest steward, which Dick Lockley was. And this year, we were able to award it to a Penn College student by the name of Allison Stam. She was one of our first female recipients in quite a while.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
What is she pursuing then?
Forestry. And she's uncertain where her future will lead, but we wish her well as she branches out into the industry. She, talked about potentially working with DCNR, the private industry. So she's really undecided, which is a smart thing when you're that young.
Yeah.
Keep your options
Right.
open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and get as much education as you possibly can and see where it takes you.
Yeah.
For sure.
May take multiple avenues with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
That's every year. That's an annual scholarship. Is it one student, or how do you determine what the endowment is, or any?
So the scholarship is administered through First Community Foundation, and they handle all the finances that go with that. But it is an annual scholarship, and it's open to forestry students who live within our region and the counties that we serve, and then also attend Pennsylvania College of Technology and Mount Alto. So we have that option for those students to apply.
Do you guys do anything with the Lumberman's Museum of any of that stuff up in Potter County?
We support them. So that's actually out of our region, but we belong to the Lumber Heritage region as well. So we're very supportive of everything they do. In fact, it might have been 2 or 3 weekends ago, the Lumber Museum was actually here in Lycoming County at the 2nd annual Pennsylvania Celebration of Woods and Wilds, and we were there. And a lot of our members participated in a little sawmill demonstration they had. So we had a crosscut saw, and we were getting teachers
cool.
and students to compete.
Yeah, I don't know if many people have been up to that, but every time we go up through the area, I like to stop in. My wife's always like, "Weren't we just here?" And I was like,
Is there anything new in there?
there's so many things, and they actually do add different things to the displays, and
Really?
they have some machinery, and then out back there's actually a pond, and then it simulates the logs coming in from like the river floats and things, and then how it actually went into the sawmills, and that's actually a whole full working display that's there.
That look up off of Route 6?
Yeah, it's right there at Denton Hill.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's so much material and reading that's there. It's like almost impossible to catch it all in like one visit. And it goes all the way back to Army Corps of Engineers and through the whole forestry programs and everything that you guys are supporting. It's very interesting. I enjoy it. So
It's definitely a wonderful asset to Pennsylvania. As you may know, Pennsylvania is the #1 producer of Pennsylvania hardwoods. And one of the main reasons why we are the leader in the production of hardwoods is when you think about the history of the state. And at one time back in the early 1900s, it was completely clear cut.
yeah.
And it was devastating. I don't know if you've seen old images, and I'm sure if you were at the lumber.
Yeah,
didn't even know
they
that.
do. They have that up at the museum. It's
So
quite
the whole state was clear cut. Wow.
Yeah, it was like stragglers. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then what it came from the industry. You and I, we were talking off air a little bit on management and trying to get that across through basically, I don't know if you call it EPA or the green. What would we?
Well, we call it sustainable forestry management. So there's a couple different programs, but the Pennsylvania program is SFI.
Yeah.
That kind of follows the sustainable forestry practices within the industry.
And trying to create and get rid of dead wood and things like that in the management side.
Well, basically, a managed forest is a healthy forest. And when we talk about those clear-cut forests that we had back in the 1900s, completely devastating. But what that did was it opened up the forest floor to sunlight. There was no competition for soil nutrients because there were no trees. Hardwood trees regenerate naturally. But as they grow, and they've given us, the best hardwood forest in the complete nation because of that clear cut. Do we support that today? Absolutely not. But we do support healthy forests, which are done in a sustainable or harvested in a sustainable manner. And if you're a landowner, that's some education that KWPA and the Sister Hugs do as well. A landowner, DCNR follows through these practices, but there's things called carbon programs now that are readily marketed to forest landowners, and they're asking them to capture carbon because trees capture carbon. So they're asking them to, lock their land into a program that does not allow them to harvest. And basically people are given carbon credits based on the amount of trees that they have in the land. And we were lucky enough to interview an individual from Penn State University who I consider a carbon expert. His name was Dr. Tom Richards. And he talks about how that particular model misses the target when it comes to wood products. Wood products actually store carbon for the life of the product. So when a tree is in a forest, it's not going to live forever.
Right.
So what they're asking is to have that older tree harvested. It's still going to hold that carbon as it's transformed into a wood product. What it does do is it opens up the forest floor and the forest canopy and allows sunlight to come in, and the younger trees are able to thrive. They don't have as much competition for soil nutrients, and the younger trees are actually more efficient at sequestering carbon than the older trees. So you can see that we're going to actually capture additional carbon and store more carbon if the older trees are harvested. And that is all about sustainable forestry efforts.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand, what's involved in that and how the management is. So when you would say the environmentalist, they're actually doing more harm than good. in a lot of cases.
Absolutely. And that's one of the key components to Keystone Wood Products. We're out into schools, we're talking about the importance of harvesting trees. And we ask students all the time, is it a good or bad thing to harvest trees? And every time we have all the students raise their hands, it's terrible. Why would you do that? Why would you cut a tree? We get it. Trees are beautiful and they give us clean air. They give us beautiful sceneries, recreational opportunities. There's a lot of great things that forests do, but we have to keep them healthy, and we do that through management.
Yeah.
Well, one of the beautiful things about trees is that more of them will grow, right? It's a truly renewable resource. And I think the United States as a whole, I don't remember the numbers, but I think we're one of the best in the world in terms of regenerating our forests. For every tree that we harvest, I think we plant like 3 or 4. I forget what the number is.
Well, in Pennsylvania, our harvest rate our growth rate is twice the harvest rate. Mm-hmm. And FIA data shows that we have more forests today than we did 100 years ago. So we're continuing that forest growth, and we're making sure that forests remain forest land. But the unique thing about hardwoods is you don't necessarily have to replant them. They regenerate naturally on their own.
Mm-hmm. So in a harvesting, are they replanting the hardwoods at all? Or they're just allowing the saplings and stuff, ability to grow from that harvest. Now they're actually gathering the sunlight and the nutrients they need to get there.
In most cases, they're just allowing trees to naturally grow. If they're trying to obtain a certain tract of, species, then yes, they can plant. But traditionally, it's just natural regrowth. In fact, the regrowth of the young saplings is so important that KWPA was just out to a sister company, actually, Lewis Lumber Products. You had
there we go.
Keith Atherwold
right.
on a previous podcast. Their sister company, Dwight Lewis Lumber Products, is one of the first companies in the entire state to use a technique called slash walls. Slash is the material that's left behind in the woods after harvest to protect young saplings. And because that young growth is so important, because it's better at storing carbon. DCNR and other landowners go to great lengths to protect those saplings. Sometimes fence is placed and it's expensive and it's a lot to maintain. So what Dwight Lewis Lumber Products has done is they've implemented a case study with a slash wall, and it was first brought to light at Cornell University. And they're applying those same techniques here in Pennsylvania, but it's a huge pile of slash that they have surrounding the newly harvested property to keep deer out. So deer browsing.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it reminds you of like wildlife management almost, because environmentalists will say that we shouldn't have hunting at all. Some environmentalists, but
right.
And what the Game Commission largely does with having like antler restrictions and stuff like that in the state of Pennsylvania is to try to promote harvesting of older deer that may or may not be past their prime, so they're not competing against younger deer that will actually create a healthy future for the deer herd.
Right.
It's a very similar thing.
Yeah, almost identical, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a newfound carnivore, all these vegetarians out there eating my meat.
Newfound carnivore. A recovering carnivore.
Right.
He wants to let the trees grow. And
Those damn
harvest the deer.
vegetarians eating all my.
Brian just started the carnivore diet, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen. That's what he's talking about.
He's a meat eater.
He's a meat eater.
So you spend a lot of time going out to the schools doing presentations?
We do. We have a part-time educator who also works for DCNR. And together, Amanda and I go out to various, school districts throughout our central Pennsylvania region. We're at elementary schools, we're at middle schools, we're at high schools, we're at career fairs, we're at adult job fairs. We're just a little, we're scattered wherever we can to share the mission of sustainable forestry and then also help promote our members. So our members are all busy. So whenever we can, we make sure that we have literature and material about job openings available to them. In fact, the state, through Keystone Wood Products Association, has a website called paforestcareers.com, and you can go on there and upload any jobs that are related to the wood products industry free of charge. And then when we're notified of that job opening, we actually distribute that information across our social media. If we're out at public events, we provide that information to them as well. And then also in the Grain, which is KWPA's monthly newsletter, we put those out.
Now, do you have landowners reaching out to you as well?
We have a variety of everyone reaching out to us at one time or another. Yes.
So I guess do you solicitate on private landowners then as well to put the people together to manage their land at all?
We encourage land management or forest management. We don't have any programs directed specifically to landowners. We participate in the landowner conference, and if we are contacted by a private landowner, we help to connect them to the resource that they need. As I mentioned to you before, I'm fairly new to the wood products industry, so I'm learning something new every day, and I often struggle trying to find an answer. So if I don't know, I put them in touch with someone who does.
So how did you come to be in this industry?
I had a marketing background and a product development background, and a love for the forest. I'm an outdoors person, so I spend a lot of time hiking, and I do hunt, so maybe I can help you out with your diet.
There you go.
You talk to my husband, he'll say, no, she's not going to help you out. I don't have, I guess I can't hit the target yet. But anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
There you go.
But I had a marketing background, and KWPA is very different from the other hardwood utilization groups in that the board has a focus on promotion, and they feel that Pennsylvania Hardwoods has an amazing story to tell. So that's how I came about with Keystone Wood Products. And we also participate in a national campaign called the Real American Hardwood Campaign. So I don't know if you watch the DIY channel at all, Chip and Joanne Gaines.
Oh, yeah.
We have a campaign right now called Build Your World. And basically, that domestic marketing campaign is a way to create awareness about the benefits of wood products. There are so many wood look-alike products out there. I mean, look at vinyl. Even tile now looks completely like wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so many benefits to using wood products. So when we think about from a healthy standpoint and a carbon footprint standpoint, if you're manufacturing, plastic, vinyl, it takes a lot of energy to do that.
Sure.
So your carbon footprint is crazy in comparison to Real American hardwood. And then when you're bringing that into your home, you have all natural hardwood floors. Let's just use flooring as an example. So that's healthier. And then there's a thing called biophilic design. And that's basically taking things from the outdoors and incorporating them inside. And hospitals are using this to help aid their patients in healing. There's just so many things. We're all drawn to wood. I wish everyone could see us and not hear us. We're sitting around this beautiful wooden table, and I feel connected to it. Do you guys not feel connected?
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah.
That's why it's here.
That's why we have it.
I love it.
Yeah.
You might not get rid of me. I might sit here all night. But so the Real American Hardwood Campaign really focuses on the benefits of using wood products in comparison to wood lookalikes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm glad you said that. I was going to bring up the Real American Hardwoods logo because I remember at the KWPA meeting year after year, it's something that's discussed quite a bit. Put it on your website, which I don't think it's on our website.
No,
You guys got to get on
Gotta
that.
change that.
there we do.
Which the meeting was last week, right? I was not there, unfortunately, but it's something going on. Two of our guys were there.
Is that your annual meeting?
Yes, we had our annual meeting at the Rusty Rail, and we had a huge
Nice
turnout
place.
from our legislators this year. We had our industry partners there. We had Pennsylvania Forest Products Association, Matt Gobler, that organization is basically our advocate for the forest products industry in Harrisburg. So he's very well connected with the legislators, and he was able to really land some pretty secure financing in the state budget this year that funds the Hardwood Development Council. I know I'm saying all these different organizations, and to the listeners, it's probably pretty confusing.
You're going to have to make a chart for us.
Yeah, a flow chart, right? So the HDC was there then to describe some of the projects that we work on collectively with the other hardwood utilization groups, which are hugs, by the way, because everyone needs a hug, right?
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
So there's just a lot of players as far as industry supporters. There's a lot of teamwork. I've been told, again, I'm new to the organization, but I've been told in the past that maybe each organization worked toward certain missions and didn't necessarily work together. And the last couple years, I think COVID really put us in that teamwork effort because we were all working remotely and we started working on various grant projects. In fact, there was over $1 million worth of grants secured through the partnerships that we formed. So we've got amazing momentum here, and we just hope that carries over and helps industry members because we know they're struggling right now with the economy and the way things are happening.
So what are some of the items that are going towards the grant?
So, for instance, we just did a new national consumer marketing display that we take to trade shows like Greenbuild. Our team was just in Washington, D.C. last week, and we were talking with architects and designers about the importance of using wood, which is the greenest building material we have available. And we actually brought home an award. It was called the Exhibitor Performance Award, something along those lines. But we basically shared with them that our booth was the most carbon negative booth there. We had wood flooring, we had a wooden bike there. So we brought home this huge award, and you're not going to believe what the award was made out of.
Plastic, metal.
Close. I'd almost feel better if it was made out of, it was bamboo.
Oh,
You know, bamboo's not a hardwood. It's an invasive grass.
that's right.
So John Geyer, the executive director of the Hardwoods Development Council, you know, he was happy to have it, but he was like, it's bamboo. And I said, well, we can't not take it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to take it.
I don't think is there any bamboo that's actually harvested in Pennsylvania?
I have no idea.
I think everything comes from
Why
bamboo.
that's good for is pandas.
Yeah.
Well, I have a funny story to tell you guys about bamboo. So it's marketed as green material, right? Like I've heard it. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. So we just did a home renovation it was 6 years ago because it was before I started this position at KWPA. I put in my floor, and I can't believe I'm publicly announcing this, but I have bamboo floors, right? I thought I did the right thing for the environment. Completely thought I did what I should have done as a consumer. And then my board finds out that I have bamboo floors, and you know, I thought I was going to get fired.
How long have you been with the organization?
About 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
So what is the deal with bamboo then? What compared to
Why is it not green? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is renewable and it's invasive. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't not keep a plant alive. But guess what? I've had for like 10 years now.
Yeah, plenty of bamboo out there.
Well, I won't plant it outside, but I've kept it alive. So it's a joke that it's highly invasive. It's renewable. Yes, it is. But when you look at the flooring that they manufacture, they have to bind it and compress it, use a lot of glue and chemicals.
Yeah.
So the carbon footprint is huge, for one. And then when you bring that into your home, it's actually, there's cancer-causing agents in the bamboo floor and certain brands and kinds. So again,
Yeah, because some of it's not regulated, so
you're right.
you know, and now you're emitting those gases and things into the home. So yeah, I can absolutely see that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that some of the folks on the board gave you grief for that, though. I remember a few years ago, we at the annual meeting, there was a legislator there. I don't remember who he was or what his name was, unfortunately, but he was from a softwoods background, and it was like, I think it was like Keith Atherholt was like, I don't even know why we let this guy in here. He's playing for the other team.
And you probably just protected his name. No.
And there's somebody that's the president of the organization as well, because wasn't Keith didn't he used to be the president?
So Keith may have been the chairman of the board.
Okay.
So Keystone Wood Products, from what I understand, because this is all hearsay again, we've been around since 2006.
Okay.
And I didn't realize what a huge, incredible feat this was until recently. I was on a Zoom call with Penn College, and it was about an apprenticeship program that we're working together with the other HUGs in the state to put together. And there was a woman on the call by the name of Sharon Monroe. And she said, "You're from Keystone Wood Products Association." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "That's incredible." And I was thinking, oh, she really must like hardwood. Like, what's so good about this? And she said, "Steph, my role in 2006 was to help nonprofits form and then to thrive." And she said that she was responsible for about 5 different organizations, getting them off the ground and getting them started. And she said, out of all those organizations, Keystone Wood Products was the only one left standing.
Oh,
And I said, wow, that's really impressive. And I got thinking, and I know why. And I think that's because our board members, like Keith Atherhold, we've had a lot of different members from various backgrounds and sectors of the industry, and they're so passionate about what they do. And as I was telling you earlier offline, Eric, those individuals guide the whole organizational mission. So they know what the industry needs and they're passionate about it and they make sure that it gets done. And again, I really attribute the success of the organization to our board members.
Yeah, that's excellent. So you have how many board members?
Right now, 10.
Okay.
There's always room for more.
Keeps looking at Eric.
well, we were talking about it offline. We should get more involved. I've said to this point, basically our involvement of the organization has been paying our dues and attending the annual meetings. So
Yeah.
we need to
We
do a
don't
little bit
always
more.
attend the annual meetings, but we have been lately.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
few years.
So,
Well, we like to help our
Somebody is.
members in any way we can. When we found out you guys first started this, podcast,
Yeah.
I
you
remember I
promoted it.
called Jill. I'm like, hey, what's going on? We got to push this out here. So
Yeah.
what we try to do for our members is anytime we can, promote anything that you're doing, attend a special event, an open house, we try to do what we can for you. And again, it's even that member connection. I know you guys are service members, but for instance, we had one of our members who was looking for a use for low grade material. And we connected them with another member that we're able to, discuss and potentially develop additional products and resources for
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
wood products. So
That's great.
I assume you're actively trying to find new members, right?
we are. It's actually been pretty eye-opening lately. We just had a new member after our annual meeting. In fact, your crew sat with Nick Wax from Wagner Lumber, and they recently joined, and we're always looking for new members that will provide guidance and input to our organization.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. It takes a team of a lot of people to make it all happen.
Sure.
That's actually the theme of our annual meeting, was just showcasing the fact that, I think they said all of us, no, some of us are not as strong as all of us, something like that, just to showcase the teamwork, because it really does take a village.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more people that are involved and more people that understand, and you get people to actually come on board that might not have understood of what was really going on with the organization either. And, they have some pretty good input to bring to the plate. So, yeah, I think it's great. Are you guys involved pretty heavily with the grading as well?
So funny you asked that. We've had 2 lumber grading classes in Pennsylvania to date. So again, new to the industry, what's a lumber grader? Didn't know. When I found out that there's one organization called National Hardwood Lumber Association, or NHLA, they are kind of the king of lumber graders. So when you think about going to the grocery store and you have meat inspectors, because of your diet, you want to make sure that you get a good meat inspector.
Exactly.
If it says NHLA on it, that's not good.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not a good inspector. Not for you.
There's some cellulose in that. You might want to avoid that.
Good for your fiber, though.
Oh, goodness. But lumber graders from NHLA traditionally have to travel, if you want that education and to be classified as a credentialed NHLA lumber grader, you have to travel to Memphis, Tennessee. Well,
Oh, yeah?
how many of our Pennsylvania companies can send someone there? The class isn't necessarily expensive, but you think about living in Memphis for 8 weeks, because that's the course. So the hardwood utilization groups, along with other partners like the HDC and PFPA, brought together the lumber grader trainer for the full course in Pennsylvania. The last 2 times it was in Western Pennsylvania. This time we're hosting him at Penn College in summer 2024. And Jeff Webb, who is the Dean of Inspector, the Dean of Inspector Training Schools. He just came in for our annual meeting, and then we hit the ground running. We visited over 50 students and talked to them about the program, and then we were at various sawmills talking to them about their need and if they wanted to send anybody. There are scholarships available, and what I didn't understand is when you start out as a lumber grader, that's like level. I guess it's just opens the doors. I shouldn't say it's level entry because it's not. When you start out as a lumber grader, you get good pay. You're well respected. You should have some math skills and backgrounds there and a good eye for lumber. But because most lumber graders are pretty sharp, they move up the ladder very quickly. So they're, moving up, and then there's that need. So all of our sawmills and companies in the area are in desperate need of lumber graders. So we do have this course. And again, that's one of the workforce development issues that our board felt was very important.
So the course is 8 weeks,
Yes.
and then is it an all-day type of session, or is it?
Monday through Friday. And I think this class, because we hit the 4th of July weekend, will have like 1 or 2 Saturdays.
Okay.
And there's dorming available for students that would be coming in from outside of, driving distance, so to speak, or even those students who live in the area and just want that college party experience. I just say party.
That's funny.
You said it's over in Williamsport?
Well, actually, it's the Earth Science Center, so it's technically Montgomery, Allenwood,
Okay.
that campus. But the housing will be on.
Well, I don't know if you want to go to that Allenwood campus.
Yeah,
There
right.
isn't over there?
Yeah.
Not that campus.
Folks that don't know, there's a prison in Allenwood.
Yeah.
You go in there, you don't come out.
And that's a federal one as well,
Yeah,
right?
it is. Some of it's maximum security. So they have 3 prisons there.
Are you talking from experience?
Yeah, I've been there.
They used to have a woodworking shop on
Yeah,
campus
that's
there.
why I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Absolutely
Tell
not.
me about that.
Well, they don't have it anymore.
No, they shut it down.
They had a woodworking factory there. They made furniture for the government. They could only make it for government offices, but they were looking for a finishing line, and we got an invitation, so we had to get cleared. Cody and I went. You know Cody. So we had to get cleared. We had to background checks and all that stuff, and so we actually went into the prison where the finishing line was. That was in the. I believe that we were in the maximum security for that one. I think.
Don't know.
So yeah, prisoners were there finishing furniture and stuff, and we were looking at what their existing stuff was and promoting our new one that they never bought.
Okay.
Because then after that, they decided to shut it down. We ended up buying some equipment out of there.
And you went in with some tools. Did you come out
No.
with all the tools or no?
No, I didn't go in with
Oh.
anything. No, I went through a metal detector. They had nothing on me.
The reason why I ask is Keystone Wood Products Association, as well as our HUGs, are involved in some of the support programs. Never in a federal penitentiary that I'm aware of. But I know we've worked with some state institutions like Rockville and State College, and they have a forestry program there. And
Do they?
It's really nice to see them succeed, after they're released.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we try to connect them, re-entrance, with positions in the area.
Rod's been
Okay.
in prison too, up in New York.
Yeah, I was just at the Auburn prison, maximum security up there, through a walkthrough for new equipment.
Yeah.
And they have a program there then, or?
Yeah, it's actually very big. It's called Corecraft, and that's
New York.
New York's. So they're doing all the furniture for all the institutions within New York. So office buildings, all that type of thing. Anything that's a government or state office, all the furniture and stuff is made at their facility. Plus, it was a license plate facility too. So
Oh.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's intimidating.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about how.
That one was the worst one I was ever in.
Yeah.
Because that was the one the guy made a joke on the way in. Make sure you bring this one back, not like the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You
I
actually,
was a kid then, and I was like scared. Man. I was like, holy hell, what's going on? What am I doing?
yeah, they actually parade you. You go right through the
Yeah.
exercise yard
Mm-hmm.
to get over to the facility. So it's quite interesting.
I can actually really, I do have a really funny story. When we were in Rockview, I went and did the whole tour, and I kept looking at my watch. I needed a restroom break.
Mm.
And in those facilities there, and it was an all-male prison. So I had this gentleman come over. He was a big guy. He was like, I said, "Can I use the restroom?" He said, "Yeah." I walk through and all the prisoners start yipping and hooing and hawing.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I went into the bathroom and the door locked behind me, and he didn't tell me that they lock and like you have no way out until you knock. Oh my gosh. So I said I would never go to the restroom in a facility like that
sure
again.
you clear before you go in. Eh? Oh wow. What is that? Maximum security? I'm not familiar with that one.
Actually, that part was. It was a 2-part tour that we did in Side Rockview, and then we went to the forester camp that was outside, and that was minimum security. I felt much more comfortable in the minimum security side.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
They're actually trying to get out.
Right.
yeah, it's pretty normal. It's just their outfits are a little funny.
Right.
Yeah. So what do they do at that one? It's a forestry. Do they have woodworking as well, like secondary, or is it just primary?
I believe they only have the forestry program now,
Okay.
so they're like
okay.
arborists
Oh, okay.
out there. But at the facility, maximum facility, they do furniture production as well, and you can buy wood products through their company. I think it's called the Big House.
That's funny.
Imagine
But again,
that.
it was intimidating. The Big House products, it was intimidating.
I don't think we've had anything to do with that one.
We do some service work there, I think.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of the guys has a relative that works there, I think. I don't know if I'm supposed to get into that. But
That's all right.
he's not incarcerated.
That's good. Yeah, I've never been there for the bad reason. I've only been there to try to sell machinery.
I've probably told this story on here before, but I went into one of the prisons here in Pennsylvania. I think it was when we were trying to buy equipment from them, and the guy got kind of giving me the tour, and then he was complaining about people problems. It's funny how relatable it is to a regular wood shop or a regular business. But then he got one of his people problems was that he had a CAD guy that was really good, and he was about to get out, and he's like, "Oh man, I might have to take him into the bathroom and like start a fight with him."
He wanted to find a way.
Trying to keep him.
Yeah, he's trying to keep him in here. That's funny. He's too good on his way out.
Stephanie, what is the Pennsylvania SFI?
So when we mentioned before about sustainable forestry efforts, they are the mainstream organization that hits the ground running, that talks about safer, I can talk today, logger safety and training. And then have you ever noticed on packages, you'll see something that says SFI certified?
Yeah.
So our cardboard containers, even, pizza boxes often have it on there. It's just showing that the material that was used to make that, container was obtained from a managed forest.
Oh,
Your microphone drifted down a little bit. You want to move it up? There you go.
Well, does that help with stumbling over my words? I don't know what's happening here.
That's not water you're drinking.
yeah.
What'd you guys put in
Spike.
that?
I'm trying to loosen you up so you talk.
Yeah.
So what are the other organizations within HUGS? Do you mind saying the Hardwood Utilization Group? Are there other associations, or give me the layout or the?
Okay. So in the Northwest, we have the Allegheny Hardwood Utilization Group, or AHUG.
I worked with them one time way back when I was a kid.
Aren't they great?
I don't remember. They were trying to help me to sell some equipment out there or something. I forget. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. But I remember that name.
Well, you said it was when you were a kid. That was 5 years ago?
Yeah, just 5 years ago.
Okay, just
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
So we have AHUG, and then, of course, KWPA covers central Pennsylvania. And again, to the northeast, we have Northern Tier Hardwood Association. So basically, we all work together. Amy Shields is the executive director of AHUG, and Shelby Chorba is the program manager of NTHA. And again, we work together on a lot of different groups. I think you guys made mention about being a female in a predominantly male-dominated industry. It's kind of ironic that, the hardwood utilization groups are led by women. But powerful women. And when I say powerful, I'm talking about Amy and Shelby. They have that background. So Amy grew up in the sawmill industry. She's a wealth of knowledge. And like I shared with you earlier, she imparts knowledge on me and the rest of our group and helps guide us. And then Shelby was actually a forester, and she worked for the Game Commission prior to that. So when I have a question about an invasive insect or whatnot, I call Shelby. So we
Nice.
work together. And then we always get the question asked about, the southern part of the state. We still work, to promote that. Amy and I were in Tyrone, Blair County. We were different places that are southern Pennsylvania. And we just work together to cover the areas that are underserved by the hardwood utilization groups. So we collectively take care of that. And I know that the Hardwood Development Council is actively looking into forming additional hardwood utilization groups. But as I mentioned before, that's something that takes a lot of time and momentum. And hence my conversation and comments about Keystone Wood Products being established in 2006. I didn't realize what a feat that is to
Yeah.
still be around.
Yeah, right. Huh. And you, I remember hearing at some of the meetings about people going to the Capitol to lobby for different bills and obviously for funding and stuff. Is that stuff you're involved in, or is that other people?
So Pennsylvania Forest Products Association, that's their main mission, but we support them in that. We participate on their legislative day on the Hill. So all the HUGs and member companies go out and we meet with our legislators and we talk to them about maybe the line item, about workers' comp issues. There's a variety of things that we discuss with them. And it's a wonderful opportunity for growth and building that relationship. In fact, we had so many legislators at our annual meeting this year, and I attribute that to the fact that Matt Gobler at PFPA is working really hard to open those relationships and bring us into that. So it's been really good.
Yeah, good. All helps. Brian's looking. Brian, what other questions you got?
Oh, I just forgot one. I had something else. I started reading on something else and I forgot all about it.
That happens to me all the time.
Were you looking towards the back earlier to try to find the saying that you mentioned a little bit ago
Yes.
was at the bottom of the grain? I don't think it's on here.
Is that where it is?
What kind of challenges do you guys come up against with environmentalists? Maybe petitioning, or do you guys come across that at all at any events at all?
I personally haven't come across it as far as, a petition or a large mass of people, but I mean, you read some of the oppositions to things that are out there about the wood products industry, and we just basically tell our story and let the person that's in question make a judgment call. You're not going to change anybody's mind, but you can provide the facts, and that's kind of all we do. Now, if we're at public events, Williamsport Welcomes the World, for instance, we have people from all around the world coming to our booth to talk about, baseball bats and, how wood products play a role in that. We talk to them a little bit, but they're like, yeah, it's not so good to cut trees down. And then we just kind of have to share our side and hope that they understand,
Right.
the power of trees and what they do and why we need to harvest trees.
Yeah, we're also tree huggers. Just in
Different.
we hug them after
We're
we
hugging,
cut.
we're hugging right here, like this
Yeah.
table. We hug it.
That's
Very
funny.
cool.
So, what other events do you have coming up, or what other initiatives here in the near future?
Well, to be honest with you, I hope it's going to slow down because let me tell you, this week was National Forest Products Week, which I'm hoping that everyone has a good understanding. Our governor actually made a proclamation that Pennsylvania's hardwood or National Products Week is this week as well. So we started out with a project that we're doing on the educational side. It's a video project, and we're interviewing various experts in the industry to share a little bit about their take on, topics within the industry. Like I had mentioned before, carbon storage, and that was what we did on Monday. We were actually at a press conference with Secretary Redding, who basically celebrated the industry with us at a fourth generation sawmill in Lycoming County. And we had legislators there as well. So we just came back, like I mentioned, from Greenbuild. Goodness, we've been on the go. There's been something almost every day
Yeah.
keeping us on our toes. The Woodmobile is also been on the run here in Lycoming County. It was at Penn College, and we were just there to give a speech share a little bit about using wood as a green material to their architect and construction classes. And I know you're scrolling up here. We just had an event called PA Build My Future, and that was at Penn College as well. And one of the local media outlets captured some people around our booth. We play the wood products game with kids.
Oh, yeah.
We have a variety of items on the table: ice cream, toothpaste, fingernail polish, shoe polish, golf ball, baseball, flooring, and the dollar bill. And we ask them to identify wood products or products that do not contain wood. So we play that game with kids, and it really gets them going, and it starts a conversation. There's a similar game in the Pennsylvania Woodmobile. If you've seen the traveling exhibit for the state.
I've seen it. It's been a long time since I went into it. There it is on the screen.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull that up.
Very good. Do you guys work with neighboring states at all?
Funny you ask that. So Pennsylvania is really unique in the fact that the Forestry Department is regulated under the Department of Ag. So the commodity is under the Department of Agriculture, but the actual management's under DCNR. So we were at what they call NIASDA conference, and it's I forget, it's a big term to share that all of the legislators of the states in the Northeast came to Hershey to see how Pennsylvania manages and coordinates its Hardwood Development Council and different initiatives. So that was last year, and we had various states reach out to us to replicate what we've done. And then this year, DCNR also had a similar hosting in State College, and they asked the HUGs and the HDC to present and share about what partnerships that we're doing and how we work together, because we're really unique in this structure. So that was a long-winded answer to say yes. We work with
Well, that's what we wanted to hear.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's funny. I caught a video the other week on that Maryland is doing a program, and it's they're basically taking students as well and training up through. And when you were saying, kids' aunts raise their hand at, oh yeah, you don't want to cut trees down, and it's a lot of those type of students that they're taking and putting into this forestry class. And they're actually showing how to grade lumber, do the species of lumber, and actually how to cut things through the whole program. I think it's 6 weeks, I believe. It's like a summer course that you can take, and a lot of them are going on to different fields. So they came from not wanting anything to do other than protest cutting trees down to finishing this 6 week program, and then a lot of them going right into the industry, which was kind of crazy how they were really changing the tide on the thinking and what you had to do for sustainability. And they're actually, I think it's on a preserve down by the Chesapeake. So, and what they do is they go through, I think there's a whole state park there that has, because it lends itself to the wildlife and everything else as well within that same area. But I thought I was YouTube searching one day, and that came up, and I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting, being that through the whole forestry side of it, and how they were trying to, build on the industry and change the perspective of, people's thinking on why it is good to manage. It's pretty neat. Like, is there a way that they maybe grade a state by your management skills by chance? Is there anything like that that's, say New York to Pennsylvania to Ohio, or, the Virginias or something like that?
Not that I'm aware of, but I can tell you that Pennsylvania is the number one producer, and we're the number one grower of hardwood, and then we're the number one exporter. So we're known around the world for our quality and beauty. In fact, I had one of my member companies, he was talking about a trade show he was at in Dubai, and they were talking about cherry.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And he was there in the U.S. stage, so he could have been from any state, basically.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the consumer that he was talking with said, oh, you're from Pennsylvania. Because we are the cherry capital of the world as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Is there a species that we're lacking in that they're trying to bring back around?
Bamboo.
Bamboo. That was
I
an
wish
easy
this
one to
table
grow.
wasn't so wide. I'd kick you.
What's going on with ash?
Well,
Is it
not
gone?
much, pretty much.
Gone?
There's still a couple left. And again, I don't have that forestry background to be able to talk about it, but I do know that, they're not making bats out of it anymore because you just can't find it.
Well, because of that bug, huh?
Emerald ash borer, yep.
We weren't allowed to kill it. So it killed our wood.
That's one of the most frustrating things when I, again, don't have that background, but when you think about how one little insect could wipe out a whole species.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
And that was a short amount of time too.
It
Really.
didn't take long. Yeah.
Maybe 3-4
Nasty
years.
bug. Yeah, I don't know exactly how long it took, but
I mean, I know it really accelerated there. It was just like it almost seemed overnight.
it seems like somebody told me that if you have ash, I mean, you can really command a lot of money for it if you can actually get some.
Oh wow.
It's hard.
Keith
to get.
might know that answer.
Yeah, he probably would.
See, remember I said I surround myself with smart people? Keith.
Well,
would
the
know
next
that.
podcast we got to do, we got to get like some of your other people on board in on it and put a little input.
Most of
on
them would have to travel a little further than her.
it. Yeah.
No, come on. I'm still going to hold the award for the furthest traveler.
Yeah.
Don't take that away from me, please. For those of you who don't know, I traveled 2 minutes to get here.
Yeah, it was a long trip.
It
we
was.
thought Keith would be the short trip.
Yeah.
No, I even have Keith beat.
Yeah, you got him beat for sure. Well,
Very cool.
do you got anything else, guys?
I can't think of anything offhand, but we enjoyed the visit.
Yeah, glad you came over.
Well, thanks for having me.
So how do people get involved if a company wants to become a member? They just get in touch with you, or
Absolutely. You can visit keystonewoodpa.org. You can reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. And one plug that I have to say before I go is follow the hashtag PA Working Forest Work. When I mentioned earlier about promotion, this is a statewide initiative to create awareness about our working forest and the benefits that they provide. So please follow that hashtag.
one more time?
Or you can reach hashtag PA Working Forest Work. And we have,
Oh, I don't even have to write it down. Okay.
I was going to say, we brought you
We have posters.
12 posters that showcase various aspects of our forest.
Dean will put it in the show notes as well.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. Real American hardwood. What else should we shout out?
Yeah, Real American Hardwood and PA Working Forest Work, and of course, Keystone Wood Products Association,
Awesome.
KWPA.
Very good.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Steph.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Appreciate
It was
it.
awesome.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Machine Spotlight. This week we have stock number 813816. This is a CTD model N80 double miter 2-notch insole. This machine features two 15-inch saw blades, each powered by 5 horsepower motors, 2 pneumatic hold downs, a 6-inch dust port, and foot pedal operation. This machine is currently wired for 230 volt 3-phase. If you're interested in this machine, you can call us at 570-584-2002 or email us at sales@rtmachine.com. Don't forget to support our buddies at Green Street Joinery by subscribing to the American Craftman podcast and their new YouTube channel, Today's Craftsman. Both links in the description of today's podcast.